Hello all, welcome to Clear Technologies and welcome to Agile Scrum course. As you already know, we are designing this Agile and Scrum course which is free for everyone in both languages. So if you are visiting this video first time, I highly recommend you to watch previous two videos so that you will follow the flow and you will get more understanding of this complete course and everything, right? So in this video we are going to discuss about waterfall model and agile model and what is the difference between these two models and what are the advantages, right? So let's discuss one by one. Let's discuss about waterfall model. Before this we have already discussed about different life cycle models in our previous video. Okay, so we have three different life cycle models, right? Predictive, iterative and incremental. So this waterfall model come under predictive life cycle model. Sometimes it is called as traditional model as well. So don't get confused. Predictive model, traditional waterfall, all are same. Right. So in this waterfall model, what will happen? We have the different life cycle phases, right? So requirements gathering, plan, design, build, test, deploy, maintenance, everything, right? So everything, all the phases are implemented one by one, sequentially. So one after another. So previous phase must be completed before you start the next phase. It means you need to first gather all the requirements specific to entire project. Then only you can go to plan phase. Once you complete plan for the entire project, then only you will go to design phase. Like this, if you want to start any implementation, you have to. I mean, the previous phase must be completed with all the information and it should be signed off something, right? So that is why this model is called waterfall model, because just like a waterfalls, if you observe waterfalls, water will come from top to down, it will not go in the reverse way, right? So that is why this is called waterfall model. It will come like first phase to last phase, that's it. It will not go in the reverse way. It means if you start the implementation, if you observe, like if you need to change some kind of design, you cannot go back and you cannot redesign your application. That is not acceptable in waterfall model. You need to first complete the design, then only you need to start the implementation. Right. So what will happen in this waterfall model, as we have already seen, like predictive. What is a predictive means? We already know in the initial stage of the project itself, we will be knowing what is the budget of this project and what is the duration of this project, what is the scope for this project. Let's say, for example, for this project, we have 1 year. Yeah, let's say this is a 1 year project. We can split that 1 year into different phases. Like first to 1 month we are going to gathering the requirement. Next to 1 month it is for planning. Next 1 month for design, and next 5 months for implementation, because we need to implement entire project. Then 1 month for testing. Then 1 month for doing the deployable readiness and code to deliver the project and all. So likewise, we will split the entire duration. In the different phases of this life cycle, there will be no customer interaction. So initially, we will get the requirements from the customer. Then we can say, like, only at the end of the project we are going to deliver or release the project to the customer. That is the main disadvantage here. Why it is a disadvantage? Like if for example, today client has given the requirement for you. If you didn't involve him in between all the phases, if you release this project after 1 year or after 2 years, by the time of 2 years, maybe that customer does not need that project at all, or he need some more changes in that, right? Because market is changing day by day, right? For example, if the customer is asked you to build a car, okay, so you took the requirements and you can start designing everything and you can deliver that car after 1 year or after 2 years. What customer will feel? Customer may or may not satisfy with that product, because he only give the requirement, that is fine, but after 2 years, in this 2 years time of time frame, market will grow like anything, right? So any new features are invented or any new changes he required in that particular car, he may reject that existing model. He may ask you to redesign that model again. Then what you need to do? You need to do everything from scratch again. You need to again gather the new requirements. Again, you need to go through each and every phase one by one to meet his new requirements. This is a disadvantage for team or developer or organization as well as for the customer, because customer has to invest again new budget for that. Right, he has allocated maybe some 1 lakh for this project, just for example. If he spent 1 lakh on this project to giving salaries or billing for us, and he have spent every budget here, and we are going to spend 1 year time here. But at the end result, if he didn't satisfy, our time of 1 year will be waste, and his money of 1 lakh also getting wasted. Right. So that is also main disadvantage of this waterfall model. So customer interaction should be there at least in between. And we cannot do any changes. If you would like to change anything, again you need to ask for another time, another budget. So this is not a time boxed kind of stuff. Right. So to avoid this, to overcome this, agile model come into picture in the market. Right. So what will happen in the agile model, agile methodology is a combination of iterative and incremental life cycle models. We have already discussed in detail what is iterative, what is incremental in our previous video. So agile is a combination of these two, iterative and incremental. So agile, in this agile methodology, they will split that entire project into different releases. So in the first release, for example, if we can say that Ola example, for first release, we can get a contract between customer and ourselves, like we will going to release a base version of the Ola app. For example, as we have discussed earlier, we will provide app with some features like source and destination and the driver numbers, like that. If someone enter the source and destination, when you click on search, it will show at least 4 to 5 driver numbers nearby. Then we need to call manually to the drivers and to book the cab and all, something like that. That is the first feature we can implement. Like that, we will discuss with the customer. So like this, we will prioritize the what is that features which we are going to implement in that entire Vola app. So in the first release, as we have discussed, like what is the plan for the first release, we need to first implement and deliver the workable product of that Vola app for that basic features. With that basic features like the search button of source and destination, and once you click on search, it will show the driver numbers. Till that, we are not going to implement entire project which is like Ola app existing right now with all the car rentals, autos, bikes and all. We are not going to implement everything. We will take only first release here, first part of the project. But at the end of this release, that project should be in state of working state. So only for that features we are going to plan, only for that features we will design, only for those features we will going to implement, and we will test it and we will release it at the end of this release. This sprint, this is called sprint. I will tell you in the next slide. So this iteration, maybe for now you can just remember this is iteration. So in this iteration, we are going to develop and deploy or release only with the minimal features, and with that minimum features of that Ola app, customer can attract the end users and he can use it, he can get money out of it. So that the end product which you are going to release at the every iterative should be working product. Okay. So then, okay, we are done with this particular iteration. Then we will move to next iteration. In next iteration, we can take another requirements, like we are going to add the cabs, like rental cabs in the next release. So for that rental cabs features, how we are going to implement in the Ola, only for that features, again we are going to plan, design, develop and test it and release it. So the cab features also now we are going to release in this second iteration. And one more thing, after this first iteration, once we deliver this basic version of Ola, we will show this as a demo to the customer, and customer involvement is there even each and every iteration. After each and every iteration, there is a customer involvement here. So customer will come, we will demo this application to the customer. If any changes required or anything he want to improve us, he can provide his feedback. So we will note down all the points, we will take his feedback, we will implement those best practices or any feedback in the next iteration. So that is why it is called iterative and incremental. Iterative means for each and every iteration we should have at least some feedback and we need to get some learning. That is happening here because we are involving customer at the end of the release. We are going to demo this to customer. Customer will provide his feedback or any changes, anything if he required. That is a learning that we are going to implement in our next iteration. That is first point. Then what is incremental? At end of the each iteration, we are going to release a shippable increment or minimum viable product. Means at the end of this, once we release the tab, it should be workable state. It should be testable state. Customer should get at least some money out of it, right? So we are doing increment as well as iterative. We are doing learning and we are providing minimal working product at the end of every iteration. That is why agile is called iterative and incremental. So that's it. So after we implement second release in the cab services, if we added here in this second iteration, again we will involve customer here. We will show this as feature as a demo to the customer. He will observe everything and he can I mean the customer can cross check if hey, this is following his requirements, this meets his requirements or not. Once he is okay, then he will be very satisfied. If he need any minimal changes or any design, he will say that information right away as a feedback. We will capture that and we will implement that in the next release, and we will show that entire entire product up to this release. We will show a demo entire we will show demo to the customer up to this third release or third iteration to the customer. So he will check if we have implemented the changes he suggested in the previous release. If we implemented them in this, he will be very satisfied, right? So at the end of the project, let's say for example we have 10 iterations in that particular project. At the end of the iteration, 10th iteration, customer will be very much satisfied in this case because we have involved him everywhere after each and every iteration. So we are capturing his feedback, we have implemented those changes, and we are providing him minimal product which is working in working stage. So he is very much satisfied here in this agile model. That is why agile is more popular than waterfall model. In previous days, in olden, I mean, in our maybe before 10 years or something, most of the projects are following waterfall model only. Then now agile is more popular than waterfall. Now every customer is moving towards agile model to implement their projects. So what is this iterations are called in agile is sprints. So agile, in agile terminology, we can call each and every iteration as a sprint, especially in Scrum framework. So we are going to see all these things in detail in our next videos, coming videos. Okay. So till now, remember that each iteration is called in agile terminology, it is a sprint. Sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, something like that. So we can really divide the entire project into different sprints, different iterations, and then we can complete the project. So at the end of every sprint, we should be in a state to release potentially shippable increment. Increment means the project, at some part of the project, it should be in working stage. So that is all about agile and waterfall model. You have, I think you understood this and you understood the difference between the waterfall and agile methodology as well. So in agile methodology, customer will be very satisfied at the end of the project because we are involving him in each and every iteration. So it and one more point, let's say for example we are planning it for 10 sprints, but at the sprint 6th, once we provide demo to the customer, maybe if customer is satisfied with that, he want to stop that project till there, he maybe implement other features later, we can stop that project till that. Even budget is saved for the customer because till sprint 6 it is working fine. So only if he need only those features, we can stop that project till there, and customer budget is also getting saved somewhat for the next 4 sprints. And one more advantage here is like each and every release we may be different developers. I mean, in sprint 1, 4 developers are there. Maybe for due to any reason, if one of the developer left the organization, sprint 2, if we add any new developer also, there is no issue, there is no dependency, because sprint 1 is already released with the old developer. So the sprint 2 features which we are going to build is new, which are new requirements. Maybe if old developer is also there, for him also it is a new requirement. So there is no difference between existing developer or new developer. in each and every iteration. So we may add one more developer. He can able to work in this particular sprint because each and every release is independent with one another. But in the waterfall model, if some developers are changed in between in the implementation of the 6 months, this is very difficult for the new developers to understand the entire project and do that entire work because it is not yet tested. Na? Only complete of the implementation, then only testing team will test it. Let's say, for example, let's plan this 6 months build or implementation for this project. After 3 months, if one developer left the organization, at the end of the sixth month, testing team will take the testing. If they found any defects in the first 3 months of the work, that old developer is not available now. New developer is onboarded. So new developer should understand entire project to fix that particular bug or particular issue when testing team raised anything. So that is also one disadvantage here, and that is a advantage here in the agile because every sprint is independent with another sprint. So I mean to say, if any issues are there in the sprint one, then itself they will fix it and they will just fix it, or they close it in the just sprint, in that same sprint itself. There is no dependency with the old developers much time, most probably. Right, so I think you got the difference between this agile and waterfall and what is the advantages of this agile and all. So yeah, let's meet in another video with another topic. So please do subscribe our channel. If you like this video, like it and share it with your friends. Thank you. Let's meet in another video.